Peter Rufai, fearless, athletic, commanding. The first choice goalkeeper for Nigeria's golden generation in the 1990s and a national treasure between the posts.
And Nigeria, one goal and well clutched by the keeper.
From the streets of Lagos to the grandest stages of African and world football, Rufai earned 65 caps for Nigeria, led the Super Eagles to glory at the 1994 Africa Cup of Nations, and stood tall at 2 World Cups, USA 94 and France 98. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu called him, and I quote, a pride of Lagos and an ambassador of excellence. In his words, Peter Rufai was more than a footballer. He was a symbol of resilience and discipline for our youths. After hanging up his gloves, Rufai remained deeply connected to the game, coaching young players and advocating for grassroots football development. His former teammate and midfield maestro, Sunday Oliseh, paid tribute on X, saying, and I quote, "We have lost a true legend. Rufai was a leader in the dressing room and a brother in battle. He saved us many times, on the pitch and in spirit." The Nigerian Football Federation described his passing as a monumental loss to Nigerian football, adding, "Rufai's contribution to our national team are eternal. He paved the way for generations of goalkeepers." From another legend, Kanu Nwakwo, he says, and I quote, "Dodo Mayana was a big brother to us all, calm under pressure, full of wisdom, always smiling. Nigeria has lost one of her greats." From teammates to fans across Nigeria and the diaspora, the tributes continue to pour in. Football may be the game, but Rufai made it a memory. Peter Rufai didn't just guard the goal. He guarded our hopes, our pride, and our national team. Rest well, safe hands. You gave us so much to remember.
Well, we're now joined from Asaba by Charles Ojugbana, a veteran sports journalist, and from Liège in Belgium, Sunday Oliseh, former Super Eagles captain, and then, of course, coach. Gentlemen, glad to have you join me on this sad note, though. Let me start with you, Oliseh. You played with him, the one called Dodo Mayana, in what was called the golden age of football. When you heard the news, what was your first reaction, and how come about that name, Dodo Mayana?
When I heard the news, I first thought it was a joke. I thought it was a very bad joke. Or I thought there was some error somewhere. But then again, it dawned on me it was real. And I'm still yet to get over it. I'm lost for words, kind of, how to express how I feel about it. But I know it hurts somehow, very, very deeply.
Yeah, I'm sure it does really hurt. I'll get back to you, whether you've been in contact with their family. But Charles, of course, you reported sports for quite a while. 1994 AFCON victory, first choice goalkeeper. How did you react? How would you describe his stance between the sticks?
Yeah, Peter Rufai, I used to call him Pierre Trudeau, was perhaps one of the calmest goalkeepers to have come out of Nigeria. He exuded a lot of confidence. He was known for his agility, and one of our famous commentators in those days used to call him Peter the Cat. One thing that made him stand out was that apart from his height, he had, this mien of calming down his defenders even under pressure. And so he was a stabilizing force from the back. He was dependable. He saved lots of penalties as goalkeeper for the Super Eagles, from the Green Eagles to the Super Eagles. And then when he played at the club level with Stationery Stores of Lagos. And generally, I particularly remember him for his iconic celebration. Each time Nigeria scored a goal, he had a way of raising his fists, and pumping them in the air. And of course, he had this unusual way of dressing. In those days, the goalkeeper top was almost like a track up, if you like. So it's not the kind of thing we have these days. They never used to wear short sleeves. But Peter Rufai was, himself and Emmanuel Okala really made a mark between the sticks for Nigeria. I think he's going to be greatly missed, because I personally see Peter Rufai as a standout player who not only contributed on the field of play, but also tried to improve himself when he finished playing. And then I think, apart from the likes of Chief Shego Degbami MON, Sunday Oliseh, Emmanuel Aminuki, and a few of them, I think Peter Rufai was very interested in developing himself post-retirement. And he was a mentee and a role model for the younger ones. He ran a sports academy. He attended lots of clinics. And of course, his poker mark on the face, I remember, stood him out completely from any other player that has done the green, white, green for Nigeria.
All right, Sunday, to you, 2 FIFA World Cup appearances, USA 94 and France 98. You were there, you played with him. How did he influence you, the players and you, when you think of him at the post, at the back?
Well, personally, I have a long story with Dudu, because my very first call-up to the Super Eagles of Nigeria was the game when we played with Ethiopia. He was my roommate then, so it was kind of like he offered me into the team. And he's a strong personality in the dressing room. You see, and one of the greatest strengths, the strength of that golden generation was we had personalities in the dressing room. But we had some personalities who were even bigger than other personalities. We had the personalities, the ones who were noisy, and we had the ones who were calm and posed. And Peter was in that group. He didn't need to force to be respected, because he had already achieved before we all came. But one thing about Peter that most people don't know is that he was a comedian. He was somebody who always saw the fun part of anything. He was always somebody who made jokes out of everything, but he knew when to be serious. And when you had someone like Peter Rufai behind you, especially someone like myself, the thing I loved the most about him was communication. He had the communication skills. Once we were defending, Peter became a radio, left, right, and this was what we needed so much. And really, I'm sad because I just keep losing my colleagues, and it's becoming scary a bit, So maybe that's why this one is especially more painful. The numbers keep piling up. And it's scary.
I feel you, Sunday. Charles, professional career spanning 20 years. He played in Spain, Portugal, Belgium, and opened the door for players in Europe.
Precisely.
Yeah, so, how did he influence, players wanting to go to Europe, That's one of his legacies.
Yes, exactly. People like Peter Rufai, people like Stephen Kersey, they were the ones that blazed the trail, of professional football being played by Nigerian players outside our shores. And I recall that Rufai played in Holland, he played in Spain for Deportivo La Coruna, he also played for a team known as Hercules. Then they were not big names, but it was refreshing to see a Nigerian player, rub shoulders with the best in the world. And that, of course, opened the floodgates for the rest of the players that followed. Daniel Omakachis, the Sunday Olisehs of the world, and you know, the rest of them. So actually, it was an inspiration, and what he did at that time didn't look like much, but with hindsight, you can now see that they were really the forerunners of the flood of Nigerian players who are now playing, applying their trades across the country and doing very, very well. So kudos to him, and he's going to be sorely missed, no doubt about it. There's one other quality about Peter Rufai which I have not mentioned. For me, Pierre was one of the, you know, most gentle players that had ever done the national colors of Nigeria. In those days, we used to have issues with players being stubborn, you know, and rebelling because of non-payment of allowances and being owed salaries and stuff like that at club level, at national level. But Peter was never ever part of that gang. He was always calm. He was always moderating. He was like a father figure, you know, as it were. And you could see that helped him. I mean, from 1981 to like 1994, which were his most glorious, you know, years. He played in 2 World Cup finals, USA 94 and then France 98. Yeah. He also played in 3 AFCON finals and won the gold medal for Nigeria in Tunisia with Westerhoff, Oliseh, and the rest of them.
Yeah. So I go to Oliseh now. So Oliseh, he also impacted beyond. I mean, Charles talked about the Star of Academy. You want to talk a little about the fact that he went beyond playing football to affect his society?
Yeah, Peter was one of the first graduates we had. And he did not get his degrees back home. He came to Belgium and schooled here and got a degree here. He was married to a Belgian woman at the time. So he's, and you see, I personally experienced something in my life that I appreciate more after it happened to me when I look at people like Peter and Steph, I mean Keshi. You see, when you are a trailblazer, like he just said now, Peter is a trailblazer. When you are a trailblazer, it's more difficult to be than anybody who comes after you, because you are facing the unknown, and then you have to face it first, suffer it first, and get over it first. The next person who's coming is just coming and imitate what you did, and then they will go through it. And this is what people like Peter was. And there's one thing again that we should look at. During Peter's time and up to today, they don't buy a lot of goalkeepers. For Peter to have been bought as a goalkeeper to go play professional football, that shows you how extraordinary he is. I wouldn't say was, because as far as I'm concerned, he's going to live on. So, and that is what I just feel that we have to respect that. And it's sad because, you know why it's very painful to me, personally, if I will share this with you, is that now that he's gone, ever since they told me yesterday, all that's running through my head is moments I've had with him. Jokes, laughters, noise, all that. So it just starts coming. And then the joy, like you showed in your image now, I just remembered now that it was, the image you showed now is very touching for me, because I find myself in the middle of 2 of my ex-colleagues, Keshi and Peter, and we're holding the African Nations Cup, and they are both gone.
All right.
So and these are beautiful human beings, you know. People I spent days with, sleeping in the same hotel, breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I can understand.
No, Peter was great. Peter is great.
Yeah, we commiserate with you, Charles, and Sunday. Thank you so much for being on Newsnight.